Hello, I'm Emmanuel Ayala. I'm the host of Telar Maestro podcast. You can introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm Tim Quinders. I studied pharmaceuticals, and right now I'm doing an internship to become a pharmacist at a pharmaceutical company here in Berlin.
Nice. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you because, this podcast is about Latin American culture, but we had talked in the past about several topics and the difference of our cultures. And we always find interesting things and also funny things for sure about
Yeah, definitely. So I lived in his flat for one and a half months. So that's how we met.
Yeah, and I remember that. One of the things I think I thought you about is like the difference in how people basically manage. Some still all ideas about medicine in Latin America.
Yeah.
And actually, I went to Ecuador like a couple of months ago, and I was talking to my sister-in-law and my sisters, and I thought there is still a tradition. I don't know if I would call it a tradition, but
Yeah.
there is this belief, if you could call it that. So people get sick because they are by the influence of another person's energy. So some other people have more energy, and they call this mal de ojo. So the eye is like bad of eye or something. In literal translation is that. And I don't know if I told you about this. This basically they use the egg to rub.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they use an egg to rub in the body. So supposedly, my sister and my sister-in-law told me that this works because.
Have they done it?
Yeah, they done it. But I saw my grandmother when I was a child do that to my nephew and my cousins actually.
Yeah.
And they say they get better. They go to doctors and nothing is working, and they do that and they get better.
It's crazy. What is it for? Like anything? Like if you have any kind of sickness or specific things?
I think people is like they have a lot of energy. They don't. I don't know. This is. I think. The main thing I heard is that you have to have enough energy. You are like maybe a little bit. I wouldn't say this depressed. It's just you don't have energy. You are like tired, and you feel like your body is not.
Just feel like a little bit sick.
Yeah,
like one does.
Under the weather, but you go to the doctor, you say you're fine.
Yeah.
And then you do this with the egg, then.
Yeah, it's like a placebo effect, right?
Yeah, that's what I wonder because this supposedly you crack open the egg in a glass of water, and then you can see if the egg becomes dark. Then you were under the influence of this.
But under the influence from like another person.
Another person. It might be even not bad person. It can be on your I don't know someone who is family and friend.
Okay, but is it then like a cure, the egg? Or just to tell if it's by another person?
No, it's just to take away the energy that is stored in your body, supposedly.
Okay, and then if the egg's black, then the bad energy is in the egg.
I don't know if particularly the egg is black. I think the eggs have to be in a particular way, like weird. Like normally, if you crack open, supposedly I haven't done it. So, but supposedly you crack open an egg, there is a certain. Way they will behave in the water.
Yeah.
But if you do it when you do that rub the egg through the body of this person who was sick, supposedly these shapes of the eggs are different.
Okay.
So, and I thought, okay, yeah, my grandmother used to do it. This is our old beliefs, like weird beliefs. But then I was talking with my sister-in-law, and the people keep doing it. And for me, it was surprising because. There are people who are educated. Like it's not like they are doing this because they are. I don't know. They are not aware that there might be some weird beliefs.
It's just tradition, right?
It's tradition.
People have done it always. It's like also in the West. People kind of imagine it's like there are people who go to the doctors and take like medicines that actually have like studies done, so medicines that actually really do work. and then there's like those kind of people who are seen as crazy who do like homeopathy
Yeah.
and like weird procedures. But there's a lot of in between stuff actually. Like a lot of those herbs you can just buy in the pharmacy, who that are supposed to help you and that have been used traditionally. If you actually do studies, they don't really do much at all. But then a lot of it is just placebo effect. So they do just as much as those things that some people would look at as crazy, like homeopathy and
So
stuff.
which percentage? I mean, I don't know if there's a general study about how much placebo effect affect people.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, let's say that you have a disease and you take a pill that will recover you 80%. How much placebo effect affect the recovery of a person? 50%, 40%?
I think it differs a lot between what you're trying to do with the medicine, but I think it can be around 30%. Like, I don't
30%.
know, with something like blood pressure medication or something, you can tell the people they are receiving blood pressure medication, and then their blood pressure will actually go down like around 30%. I think like it's not too crazy, so I think 80% like that's way too much, but yeah, 30%, something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, for me, it's also interesting because if you think that is a kind of technology also
Yeah.
to heal people, like even if 50% is not that bad.
Yeah, it actually is. So this is like yeah, this kind of justifies those procedures, which actually, I mean, you can kind of see it as fraud if people say it works and it really doesn't work anything more than like anything you give them when you tell them that it works, but it still does work. It's like, yeah, it's kind of contradictions, like, yeah.
Yeah, but what is the line between okay, this is placebo and this is happening in research yet? So because I mean, there are a lot of things that hasn't weren't researched in the past, at least in Latin America, and I'm talking specifically ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think it was taken seriously before 30 years ago. Now, I mean, there are studies about people getting better with
Definitely, yeah.
psychological benefits, health benefits. So, I mean, how do you determine what is can be easily dismissed and cannot be easily dismissed?
So it's like it's a lot of statistics. So if you do like the studies and compare new medicine to placebo, it then has to be like it's a significant difference between the efficacies of the medicine versus placebo. So if it's like just 1%, like if the medicine does 41% for blood pressure medication, for example, if it lowers it by 41% and placebo does 40%, it's not immediately that the blood pressure medication is then really does work, because it can still be just statistical like anomaly. So like if you're lucky, then it will have like 50%, even though it truly just lowers it by 40%, because just it could just be a coincidence that for those people that you use it, it's like more it does more to them or less. It goes in both directions. So yeah, you have to like look at the number of patients that you give it to, and so then also beforehand set a certain limit that's reasonable to like say, okay, so this actually does work more than placebo.
Okay, but I mean, but before you do the study, you don't really know. So there are a lot of things that are being not studied, and you can say, okay, it's placebo, but you really know until you study it. And I guess there's, I mean, things that haven't studied, like even Chinese medicine or other medicine, American medicine. I mean, traditional medicine has been used. I don't think has been really deeply studied. So, what is the process of going to study new medicine? Because I heard that there's a lot of medicine that's come from the Amazon that has been transformed into pharmaceuticals by the pharmaceutical companies. So, how a company decides want to research this?
Yeah, I mean, for companies, mostly it's really a monetary thing because they just have to make money. It's just that way in capitalism. They are not going to do it if they don't make money from it, even if individuals in the company do it for like because it's their passion or something. So they really look at if it makes them money. For the most part, I mean, there are exceptions with like the approval of or like the way from MDMA to approval. So it's not approved yet, but it was actually philanthropy funded. They
Which
say
one?
MDMA
Okay.
because it was outlawed. It still is outlawed, scheduled drug, but they then paid for the studies just from donations. But in general, the pharmaceutical companies they just look at what is gonna probably make money. So
Yeah, but you say, yeah, but how did they find new medicines, like new components? Like,
mostly, like in the past, they did like this is like a classical medicinal chemistry. They would look at like a plant, maybe a toxin or something. So they would look, okay, it does something in the body, something specifically. So like a plant, if you eat it, it's poisonous and like it makes your heart just go so slow that you die.
but this is in controlled settings, you mean?
No, it's just like just experiences from nature. So you know, plant is toxic to the heart. They just know it. So it's like because for hundreds of years people know okay if they eat this plant they die, and then maybe they look in animal studies. Okay, why do they die? Because the heart slows down, and then they look at like at the pharmacology. So they see okay this actually attacks those receptors in the heart, and this is why they die. And then they think about how can
But
we
you
use
mean
this
they-
therapeutically.
You think you mean they? Sorry for interrupting, by the way.
No problem.
I wanted to know. You say people knew for 100 years that this is bad, so they take like people experiences or like
Yeah,
and that's not
definitely.
count.
Definitely. It's like just the knowledge that is accumulated. So so even 200 years ago, 200 years ago, when there were hardly any medicines really like we have today, we knew certain plants would like help with certain ailments or are toxic in a certain way, and then we or people actually go from there. So they
So,
look
so they have like a guess. Okay, they say okay, this is popular knowledge. So now we are transforming this into science.
Yeah, they look at if they maybe could transform it into a medicine, or like, and then they look at what substance exactly does it in the plant that, like, for our example, slows down the heart rate, and they look at if it really does only slow down the heart rate, or if it does other things in the body, and then maybe they modify the molecule that actually causes this, and then they look at if it can help people who like maybe in our example have like a heart rate that's too high or something.
Okay, so but I mean, I guess there are different methods. One method might be okay, popular knowledge or popular culture. You can call it that. But I guess there are also active research to find new components.
Yeah, this was like the traditional way to how medicines are found, and all the old medicines like aspirin, something they all have like a story that's like okay, some scientists just looked at this plant and was like okay maybe it could do this and that, and then he made like a very minor chemical addition, and then we had like acetylic salicylic acid, so aspirin, which is like a staple in most households, and in the West, everybody knows it.
Yeah, but how this come about? Depend.
In Weide, I don't know the term in English. Weide,
I can research it.
WEIDE.
W-I...
WEIDE.
Weide, okay. Yeah.
So,
Weide. This is German. Weide is...
Yes, yes. Weide is German. It's in Latin. It's Salicis cortex. So the bark of the Weide.
Okay. I don't know. I couldn't find it.
But Weide, it contains the bark contains salicylic acid, and it was used for some ailments because it's like it reduces inflammation and stuff. And people looked at it and then they modified it slightly, so they just acetylated it, which is like it's very simple. There was a period where people would just acetylic, I don't know how to pronounce it in English. They would add an acetyl group to just anything, and then they would have like a new medicine. So this is also how heroin was found or created. They would just take morphine and put like two acetylic groups on it, and then you have like heroin. And this is also like a salicylic acid added acetylic group, and then you have aspirin, which is
So, but did you say this compound was gotten from a tree bark?
Yes.
And so this was research. I mean, people were to go to the tree bark to research. Okay, I will get this.
Yes, definitely. So the tree bark was also traditionally already used to reduce inflammation, and mostly to reduce inflammation. I think not already as a pain medication, but they then looked at it. Okay, maybe we can market this, so we can extract it and then look at if we can just use the pure substance as a medicine, or modify it slightly and then use this as a medicine, and then they did the latter.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean, because but this, where is this tree located? This tree bark.
In most places, I think in most places in Europe, definitely widely in Germany. So it's not that special actually. And also the acetylic salicylic acid aspirin. It's an incredible simple molecule. I also think the salicylic acid, it's in a lot of plants. It's not just in the Weide. But this was like the old way how medicines are found, and nowadays often you have like computer assisted screening. So you look at like model's pouch of a protein where the medicine would have to work in, and then they just screen different molecules and simulate it, what the molecule does in the pouch, and then they have
What do you mean by pouch?
So when molecule acts in the body, often or most of the times it acts at a receptor. The receptor is like a protein, and the molecule to act in the receptor, it has to fit in there. Like the receptor is kind of a pouch, and so the molecule, you can kind of think of it as like a key and a lock principle. So you have a lock, and they research how the lock actually looks, and then they simulate the lock, and then they simulate how a very large number of different keys fit in the lock, and then they look at the keys that fit the best, and that way nowadays a lot of medicines are found.
So they analyze the plants that are the key, or the plants that are the lock, or
no, this is like a new method. This really is very disconnected from like natural medicine. It's very theoretical. It's really just just looking at the lock and at the key.
So the isolated components.
Yes.
But this is interesting. I mean, do you think there's a problem when you isolate components from, let's say, a medicine? Because I mean, traditionally, I guess medicine was also part of more components. Like in a tree bark, I guess there are more molecules. Is there might be a problem with that, or?
Sometimes, definitely. For some plants, it's like very clear there is this certain substance in there that we can just isolate, and it does exactly the same thing. And often without the other ingredients in the bark or the plant or whatever, it has like less side effects. So it's actually good that we can just extract it and then use the pure substance. But sometimes it's also really not known which ingredient of the plant does this. So even with medicines that are used fairly often, they still use like the plant extract with a lot of different components in them, because they are not sure which component does what, and how they interact with each other. So for example, St. John's wort is an herb that's used against depression, and one doesn't know exactly what in the St. John's wort does what. Like they know what things are in there, but they still use an extract and not one substance.
But this is marketed as medicine.
Marketed to what?
As a pharmacist.
Oh yes, you can buy it in the pharmacy.
Okay, which percentage of medicine do you think is that way that are?
Um, because obviously it's only for it's only for natural medicines. So like when it's really only from plants, because most medicines nowadays are like they are derived from plants, but they are modified heavily chemically. So it's really most of the time just the pure molecule and not an extract.
Okay, so do you think that most medicine are pure molecules then?
Depending on where you look, like in the ones which actually are prescribed and where the studies are done, yes, definitely
Yeah.
less extracts, more just the pure substance.
Yeah, that's interesting because, for example, I mean, cocaine is an extract of the coca leaves, and traditionally, was used like for people in the Andes, in Peru specifically, they still use it. I went to Cusco, and people were, I mean, chewing coca, like,
Yeah.
and they got strange from that, but they didn't got the side effect we can say they get addicted or
Yeah.
this is a heavy drug. So yeah, I don't know, but on the other side, I mean, yeah, people in the past used medicine with all the components of the plants because they didn't have the methods to distill, if you can call the medicine to
Yeah.
get the primary components that are the ones that are, heal problem or help. But also they use also methods, archaic methods or different methods to transform different plants. It wasn't like they didn't do that in the past. It was not. It's not. It's just I think the methods have evolved. But for example, I mean, for even for ayahuasca, is two components. They have to be cooked for hours until they basically reduce the water and the leaves and the this not roots, but I think it's not it's the bark, also a tree bark. So they know how to basically create medicine in. So
yeah, definitely. The method oftentimes has like a very profound impact on the medicine itself. For ayahuasca, definitely, because it just wouldn't work if you wouldn't use two components. But also for other things, just certain processes like drying it and then fermenting it, really the molecules change. They like oxidize or something, and it really does have it can have a big impact. Definitely. Also with cocaine, it's a good example because like if you just chew the coca leaves, I mean, it's still kind of toxic and it's not very good for you if you do it all your life. I think when you see old people, I think I saw it in a documentary once, when they chew coca leaves their whole lives, you can see it really in their mouths because their teeth
really?
are kind of fucked up. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't really seen that actually, but I didn't thought that was the case. Maybe that's because I have to look after research about it.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah, because I mean, in the I mean, in the Andes was, I mean, it's still traditional to this day, but supposedly the Incas built the empire by having coca leaf. They
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they get the strength for the altitude. So they.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting if you have like a whole population or like a culture, if they're all like kind of a little bit on cocaine, it's like
A little bit, yeah, but it's like they got the strength, but that's the thing. I mean, it's not cocaine because it's a plant that is, I mean, have more components, and who knows what the other components might do to them.
I think definitely also important there is that if you just chew it and it's still in the leaf, that it's just released much more slowly. So you have like a very a high that's less strong but longer compared to if you insufflate it. So if you snort it.
Yeah, but also I mean, I wonder. I mean, who knows what is better or worse? I mean, I guess you have.
I think for cocaine, it's definitely better to just chew it.
No. But I mean, in general, the methods of the past, because one might think in the past the traditional medicine was, since it wasn't not isolated, have was, I don't know, more holistic, or who knows, like it was less harmful because it was more or less, yeah, it wasn't, it was part of more of natural medicine. But yeah, I mean, if you see, I guess the rates of disease and deaths in the past, it was higher.
I mean, if you just think about like, I think little more than 100 years ago, antibiotics were first discovered, and people before then, people like in wars, you would get like shot, and then you would die because of the infection. And in the First World Wars, it just started that they would take penicillin, and then you wouldn't die. So people like really, it really changed a lot. So rates of disease, modern medicine really changed a whole lot of things. But yeah, for like smaller things, some holistic medicines are definitely better because sometimes people have like very small diseases that really don't affect them that much, but they immediately think they have to take like some chemical medicine, and maybe for those things, the more holistic approach that also relies heavily on placebo sometimes would be much better because
Yeah, actually, it's crazy because for me, I mean, I saw this trend in Ecuador at least that pharmacies had grown a lot. Like I remember I used to study in my high school. I mean, the next block. I mean, I don't remember what was this next block. Maybe there were some companies, who knows. But the thing is, the whole block became a huge pharmacy, like huge pharmacy. People were purchasing medicine around, and I saw this growing trend. Like there were some streets that there was only pharmacies, and I think because in Ecuador there is not that much regulation. I don't think like in America to purchase some medicines. Like here there is more care into what you purchase. Like there, like you can get. I mean, I think lately they are doing more regulations for things that are for flu, for example, that are might be also problematic if you take it in high amounts.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one was regulated, but usually you work in a pharmacy, and
Yes.
and people were probably asking you what do you have to take for certain illness.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So but that's happened in Ecuador, but there are not many regulations. Some people get prescribed. Like the pharmacists think that doesn't make sense.
You always hear about people like some of my friends or friends of friends who go to countries that are not that much developed, like for example Greece. And then in Greece, they just know, okay, in the pharmacy you can buy things that you would want to buy if you want to get high of drugs in the pharmacy, and they just don't ask. So in Greece, you can buy codeine, so like cough syrup that gets you high. In Germany, you have to get a prescription because it makes you high and people would abuse it otherwise. If you wouldn't have to get a prescription, but in Greece, they don't care, and they actually know that the tourists want to buy this in the pharmacies, and they have like actually like signs outside. You can buy codeine here.
Wow.
Yeah, because they just know tourists go there and get high of the codeine.
I think I heard of this. There was a trend, and I don't know if it was internet. I don't know if people do it in Ecuador, to be honest. But yeah, it's weird. I mean, I don't know. This is super different as well. I mean, I think another thing I realized in Germany that people realize a lot in teas. Like teas are everywhere. Like
oh yeah,
like it's like it's like, and I don't know if this is common, but I've seen some juices that are taste like medicine. They're not. I mean, for me, it's like unicorn juices are juices. Like if you are branding a juice in the.
Oh, you mean juices that are used as medicine?
Yeah, like juices with.
But in the pharmacy or
no, in the pharmacy, no.
Supermarket.
In the supermarket, yeah. Okay. They say they taste like medicine. And I say, why are you selling juices that taste like medicine?
What uses, for example, like some general things like stronger bones or something? Or
I don't know what they say because my German is not that good to understand. But I just out of curiosity, I purchased some of them, and they say they are close to the beverage aisles. So I would think they are to enjoy it.
Actually yes, they are like ingwer, like ingwer is ginger shots or something that are like because everybody knows ginger is healthy, so they sell ingwer.
I understand that.
Ginger shots, and and then it's kind of almost like a medicine because it's really. It tastes. I mean, some people like it. I actually like ginger, but ginger shots are disgusting. It's just very strong, and it's kind of sold as a medicine. Like not really, but but kind of it's supposed to be healthy, and people only buy it for that reason.
I mean, for me, ginger is a contentious topic. Not, I mean, I'm joking, but I'm taking because I hate ginger. I don't know why
Yeah.
people take it.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
love ginger.
I mean, I understand it's a medicine, but I mean, here in Germany, people put it in soups.
Yeah, my mother also. I mean, she's more crazy than me. She like
She's more crazy than me.
always drinks like ginger tea, and every time she's sick, she takes like ginger. But yeah, I do like it. You get it in the nowadays in most Chinese restaurants or like buffet places or with sushi. You have like a little bowl with ginger. So to cleanse the palate, they
This
say.
doesn't cleanse your palate. This punch you in your palate.
Yeah, but I like it. It's like a.
I mean, to be fair, like in sushi, also they give you just ginger, fresh ginger.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like to cleanse your palate, like the small bowl of ginger.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Like
I mean, I mean that's a a different thing also that I realize here in Germany that I don't know, flavors here are not nuanced as they are in Latin America. You have to be punched. Like you have this mustard that is strong in the sausage, and then it's like, okay, this is too much for me. This is too much strength. I mean, we have strong flavors, but it's like it's a different. You can feel different combinations.
Yeah, I mean, like the German kitchen. As a German, I say it's really not that great. I mean, there are some things that are really great, but all in all, like compared to Italian cuisine or like South American or like Asian, it's really not comparable.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we talked about this before, but have you been to small towns? I mean, like really farmlands where they...
Oh yeah, I come from like really.
But a farm. Like...
Oh yeah, I mean, my mother grew up on a farm, and we didn't have a farm, but we were pretty much surrounded by farms. And I always went had play dates at friends who had farms, so we would always play like with like at the farms. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I heard someone who came from Latin America. I talked to him. We were talking about food for sure, and he was telling me that he went to a farm and I don't know remember what he tried there, but he said the food is different from the city and it tastes way better.
Oh.
So I wonder is a phenomenon of industrialization.
I mean, if you go to the farms directly, you would probably get things that are like more expensive, but also bio. Just not as processed. So if you buy like a chicken at a store really on the farm, then it was probably butchered like a few days ago. Compared to in the supermarket, it was butchered like 2-3 weeks ago, whatever. I don't know how they preserve it, how long, but and then you can definitely taste the difference. So,
but I mean, it's only the ingredients are fresh, or is also that the skills are better of cooking?
I wouldn't actually say that the skills of cooking are better if you on the farmlands. I think actually in a big city like Berlin, you have better cooks than on the farmlands. I mean, of course there are exceptions, and there are very good restaurants in farmlands, but I think in cities it's better. I mean, maybe for German food in rural areas it's actually better. Maybe this, yeah.
But I just wonder, you are aware that the food is not that good as you would like to be. Yeah. Are everybody aware of that? Because I mean, if you accept it, then
I mean, of course, some people really love German cuisine. Like they do everything: potatoes, Kartoffeln.
And the potatoes are not even.
It's not. It's actually, but still, it is kind of
Latin America.
Yeah, it's kind of become very German thing. People even say deutsche Kartoffel to describe people who are like really really German.
Wow.
Like German potato. Because it's just become kind of such a German thing because people eat so much potatoes.
Yeah, that's super interesting because I mean the Inca Empire also was built. I mean, what the success of the Inca Empire was because they were able to store potatoes in high quantities to feed the population, even when there were problems in the crops, because they have a technique of preserving potatoes.
Okay, how did they do that?
I mean, what I saw from a video from someone who did it is they did it in two ways. I mean, the main idea is you freeze the potato, and somehow the coal and I will tell you the technique. One of the techniques was they put potatoes inside a bag or a fabric bag, and they put it in the river. So this, I don't know what the cold waters somehow reduce and
Oh yeah.
or make, I don't know, make,
Kind of like a very old way to like just cool things.
yeah, to
Like,
transform
like,
that.
like to just put it in the
Yeah,
fridge.
but the thing is, they then dry it in the sun,
Mm.
and the potatoes. I mean, the water just get evaporated, and they get strong, like really like more hard. They harden it, so it's like it will become like rice. Like it will become super hard.
Yeah.
So if they want to cook something, they basically transform it into kind of I forgot the word, flour.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the. I mean, so they had big
Okay.
uh, how silos of potatoes that they were transforming that way. I mean, this is one technique. Another technique that I saw a guy still do it traditionally is that they go to the um, uh, high parts of the particular mountains, or no, not mountains, but parts that are super high where there is
Yeah.
cold. So they put the potatoes in a big field, and the frozen of a particular day or a particular station, frozen the potatoes, and the sun then comes the next day, and they do it a couple of days.
Yeah.
And supposedly he says that this is the best way to transform the potatoes because the flavor is better.
Okay.
So yeah, they do. And this is called muño. And I tried muño when I went to Cusco, but I didn't thought it was that good. I probably
So,
didn't.
so Muño is the thing like how the Incas did it, like.
I mean, I think Incas, but also some people still do it until today, because in Cusco I tried with muño. I was looking for that actually in a
Yeah.
market, and traditional market, but I didn't like it. I mean, you can. I mean, in Latin America sometimes. I mean, I think the ratio of good food to bad food is different to than Germany, but still there are some places that are not. The food is not that good. I would say there is like 70% is good and 30% is not that good.
I mean, in Germany, it's kind of hard to put it that way because, of course, there are a lot of Döner places who are just bad.
Yeah, super bad. No, I mean, yeah, I don't want to talk bad about a particular city, but I've been to a city that I thought that maybe 10 and 20% of the food was good, really. It was difficult to find good food. I mean, here in Berlin, I would say 50-50.
Berlin, actually, compared to other cities in Germany, Berlin has really, really good food.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to other big cities, I can't really compare it that much, but compared to smaller cities, it's just, in small cities, you can really pretty much expect that the Döner is bad.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just not going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a little bit shocking because in Ecuador, I mean, at least in Guayaquil, where I'm from, the food that gets popular are the food that is really tasty. So, but I was surprised because everybody was talking, oh, I like doner, and it was okay, I will try. And I say, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's super bad. Like in this city, I mean, I would say the city. I don't know. It was in Cologne. Like, who cares? I didn't like this. The most others there. I like Japanese food there, and there are also Persian food. I really like. A friend of mine took me to a place for Persian food, but it was difficult. It was a struggle to find good food.
Okay, but I thought Cologne was better because Cologne is big.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get that look, but also it was during the pandemic when the period I spent there, so I didn't go that often. So I mostly cook by myself.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you this about medicine because, I mean, we are already touching this topic with food, but this industrialization and how, I mean, the method of transforming medicine has changed. And I mean, for sure, hasn't been studies, or we haven't seen what are the effects of having these isolated components to treat diseases. Because do we know that if there are side effects, or because, I mean, for me, it's a little bit puzzling that autoimmune diseases are going higher the last 30 years.
Yeah.
and some people say it's environmentally, and I believe so. I mean, but there are so many components to that. Who knows? It's food also has changed. I mean, it's not, as you say, as processed as it used to be in the past.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if, I mean, for one side, you get better with this medicine. People live longer for sure. The lifespans of people are not at grow. People are get older than it used to be in the past.
Yeah, I think definitely that's a very big component of it. So it's like it's multiple components. I think one big thing is definitely that people just get older. So I always kind of felt like you kind of get the feeling if you just listen around you that people get more cancer than they used to, or like you hear more often about it.
But I hear people younger people, not only old people. I saw actually a news. I have to check it out. I will check it out now, but I'll just
Yeah.
speak. That younger people are getting rates of cancer more
Okay.
regular.
I didn't know that, but in general, it's people get cancer more often because they are just alive, so they can get cancer because people get older. Because
Yeah, older
in the
people-
past, people like it was pretty normal for a man to die in his 60s by a cardiac arrest, just
Yeah.
because they didn't have blood pressure medication, they didn't have like cholesterol lowering
Yeah, for sure.
medication and stuff like that.
Okay, I will read this article from September of 2023. This cancer cases in under 50 worldwide up nearly 80% in 3 decades. The two defines. This is the Guardian.
But is it okay? So it's probably really
Maybe the others, but this is under 50. It's not
Yeah.
old people. So this is I can read a little bit more if you want.
what kinds of cancer?
Okay, so the number of under 50 worldwide being diagnosed with cancer have risen by nearly 80% in 3 decades, according to the largest study of its kind. Global cases of early onset cancer increased from 1.82 million in the 1990s to 3.26 million in 2019. While cancer deaths of adults in their 40s, 30s, or younger grew by 27%. More than a million under 50 years are now dying of cancer. The research revealed. Okay, let me see if there are type of cancer.
I think because I asked because on one hand people just get older, but also it's the food. I think it's a lot of food like causes cancer. So,
eating too
so,
much.
so if you too much, but also like the kinds of food. So if you eat like preserved
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
meats, they are preserved with like nitrite salts.
Nitrites, yeah, that's
Yeah.
super bad.
And if they the nitrite salts they are like in the intestines, they can cause cancer. So if you eat like a lot of processed meats, also like chips.
What is
and-
this not regulated and like?
I don't know.
it's
It's actually kind of crazy, yeah. I mean, it's because it's tradition and people can eat a lot of processed meat and they don't immediately get cancer.
No, but it's not tradition, because there is a lot of chemicals that are being-
it's kind of tradition because people used to preserve it with salts so they can eat a lot.
Outside, not with
it's
nitrates.
nowadays it wouldn't even be necessary to like preserve them with salts because you have refrigeration. But nowadays it's kind of you don't need to preserve them, but it tastes. It has a certain taste. It tastes good sometimes,
Yeah, I
But
heard
it's-
it's
yeah,
because
but-
of the taste as well.
but it causes cancer. Yeah. Also like fries and chips. If you fry them in fat at a temperature that's too high, there are like certain substances get created in the chips and in the fries that cause cancer. And unfortunately, exactly those at those temperatures, the fries become extra tasty. So it's actually like the more tastier they are,
The more tasty, the more deadly.
cancer they
That
cause,
should be
yeah.
the slogan of McDonald's. Like the more tasty, the more no, the more
More
dangerous, the more tasty, the more cancer, the more tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, but do you think that it's not regulated because the regulations are not picking up with the development of these foods or what?
I think it's also like imagine the state would say, okay, you can't have any more preserved meats to the population, and like people would be like, okay, I don't give a shit if I'm gonna get cancer. I'm already like,
I don't
like,
think
like 70 years. I don't want to eat my bacon that I've eaten for my whole
no,
life.
no, because I've seen people when they say, "Oh, this causes cancer," people get alarmed. I think at least.
But it's known. Like you can research this. People say that you like your doctor is gonna tell you, just try to eat less processed meats because
But
it's
the question when
can
yeah
cause cancer.
yeah I heard. I mean, the doctors tell that you shouldn't eat processed food, but I think people are not aware of these statistics. I guess like one thing is, oh, I eat cancer. Maybe if I eat too much of that, and people
Yeah.
usually don't understand their own habits. They eat sometimes, and sometimes it's every 3 days, and it's not.
But still, like think about people smoke, right? A lot of people still smoke, like cigarettes.
Ah, yeah.
And they definitely, everybody knows that it causes cancer and all kinds of other problems, but people just do it anyways. Doctors sometimes smoke. I sometimes smoke, even though I know the dangers.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think that now that these horrible images are in the cigarette packages, people are more deterred?
Some people are really deterred. I think because my mom smokes also, and she has like she now has like a pouch, and if she has a pack of cigarettes, she puts this in the pouch so she doesn't have to see the. And I've seen other people do it. I've heard about people like our age who just don't want to smoke because of the images. And actually, like for me, I don't give a I don't give a damn. It's like
for me, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
yeah.
I couldn't care less.
Yeah, no, but
for some people it works.
No, but it works. It works. I think also cigarette companies are more regulated. I guess. I mean, I guess now it's a little bit more popular culture that cigarette companies took a long time until the public changed their perception of because it used to be healthy. Babies used to be advertising with cigarettes.
They used to say that it increases your manlyhood if you smoke.
Yeah, and this is interesting about also cigarettes because this is tobacco, and tobacco has been used also. I don't know if in other parts of the world, but at least in America for traditional medicine.
Yeah.
Like for me, that was really a shocking discovery because I don't know which medicines are tied to these traditional uses in the past, but at least two of the most used in the now. I don't know, drugs, or because a cigarette is a drug in a sense, are basically linked to traditional uses that were, I don't know if coca leaves were healthy. You say that probably the teeth. I haven't researched about it, but
so if people thought they were healthy, to chew them or what?
No, but I don't. Because for example, tobacco. I mean, I had experience with plant tobacco. They are they has been used in traditional medicines by shamans for helping things to cleanse the body and to do kind of I don't know how to call this. Basically, you take it and you basically start maybe shitting yourself, vomiting because you are cleansing yourself. Right? And this is this I don't know. Also, for me, it's interesting that cleansing in these ways of vomiting or shitting yourself, is a part of traditional medicine in Latin America, or at least in America. I don't know if that's the case also in Europe, or was traditionally the case.
In some areas, like people sometimes do a cure, they say. So they take like, okay, for a few weeks, I'm just gonna drink this one kind of drink, and I'm definitely gonna have the shits, and also maybe throw up. I think it's mostly people have the shits, so the diarrhea. And then they feel like they cleanse themselves of something.
But this is not.
It's not really. It's not like every German has like a grandma that knows this and does this. It's more like a alternative medicine that's gotten more popular over the last I don't know, like 50, 40 years. So it's not really part of the tradition though.
Yeah. I think I got a little bit it changed the topic when I was thinking about because I want to go with these substances, tobacco, for example, and coca leaves and cocaine. Is that in the past there was a traditional use? I mean, there were benefits to these medicines in the way the traditional people use it.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, for sure, there were probably some things that were not used in a positive way. Who knows what things were being used in ways that were like more um, counterproductive or unhealthy. But I don't. I mean, as far as I know, I don't think the addiction, for example, was something that it was more common
Yeah.
in traditional cultures as it is in now. And I wonder if this is because I mean we have molecules that are ultra processed,
Yeah,
or yeah,
definitely. It's because you have like the more pure molecules, but also the way of ingestion is incredibly important with addiction. So if you like, if you take a pill of something, or like you choose something, um, it's orally. So it's if you take a pill, it takes like 20 to 30 minutes. If you ate something before, up to 2 hours to yeah, to affect you, to have an effect. So if you take like a pill of a painkiller, you get euphoric like half an hour later, um, 20 minutes earliest. But if you smoke it, you feel it like 30 seconds after you did it, and then the connection in your brain from the act of smoking it to the good feeling that you have from it is much stronger than if you take a pill and then like 20 minutes later you start to feel it. So the smaller the time frame between the ingestion and the effect is, the more addictive it is. So if you shoot up heroin, for example, you feel it almost like a few seconds after you did it. It's like the worst thing you can do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one part of the component, I guess. From I mean, because these substances are stronger than they used to be in the past. I mean, even though I wonder if this, I mean, this that's only the case because, I mean, as we discussed, there were also traditional ways to transform medicine to more potent substances. But also, I don't know if there was a need in the past because in the past there were communities were stronger, so people not necessarily.
Yeah, definitely, because addiction is also not just based on the substance, but also like on the life of the
Yeah,
addict. Because if he has a very unstable life, then it's much more. The risk is much higher that he gets addicted to
yeah,
something.
yeah. I think we talked about this experiment with the rats and heroin, I think, or cocaine or something like that.
Yeah.
Did we talk about it?
No.
There was an experiment from rats. One I don't know if it was cocaine or heroin, but basically they have this rat that can't press at something, and or they have this water with this drug. I
Yeah.
don't remember which drug was, but I mean the rat can get it any time they wanted. But when the rat was isolated, he was hooked. He was
Yeah.
addicted. But when the rat was in a rat camp with other rats, they have a park and you can run and can eat, go around. The rat didn't pay attention to the
Yeah.
to the drug. So yeah, I guess there is I guess two components. One is technology has become more. I mean, I don't know, I forgot the word, but it's more complex and definitely more. The, the capacity of the technology to transform medicines or substances to be so potent that it's difficult for people to really deal with them. And also, okay, even if they are potent, there is not the community that people used to have and the things that people used to do so they don't get into addicted into that way. And also I remember there was I read a book. I remember the book exactly, but supposedly in Vietnam, a lot of um, the army there got hooked in heroin because people in Vietnam,
Vietnam.
yeah,
Yeah.
they sell heroin. I mean, in the street. I don't remember, but I don't know if there was a study, but I know they were addicted there. But then when they went back home, they didn't have any addiction.
Yeah.
And supposedly, when they went back again to Vietnam, they got addicted again. Um, he was. I mean, but he was not making the case only about community, but also was making the case about space because what I've researched about addiction is there's a trigger as well, like and space can be a trigger. So
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
people used to do these things and say, oh, this space trigger emotions, and then the body uh, start to how do you call it?
Cravings.
Cravings, yeah, cravings,
Yeah.
because your brain is emotionally, or I don't know, is associated in that to the feeling you had with the taking the drug. So yeah, that happened with Marines, and that was super interesting as well.
I can imagine like if you spend your time there like in the jungle or whatever, and then you smoke opium, you get addicted to it, and if you're back home, everything's so different. Like you're with your family again, that you're not at war. Like it's like
Yeah,
USA and not Vietnam. But if you're back there, like yeah, you have the triggers. You're like back in the jungle again, and then you immediately think about
yeah,
smoking opium. Also, if you have an addict and he's trying to get away from drugs, one of the most important things is that he changes his environment so he doesn't see triggers. And this on the one hand, but also that he changes his friend group, because if you're an addict and you're trying to stop, but you have like good friends of you come around and say like, hey man, let's shoot up heroin, I don't know, or whatever, then of course it's much harder to quit than when you move to like, I don't know, maybe another country or like at least another city, because it's just, yeah, it's a whole new environment.
yeah. Actually, it's a little bit alarming because I don't know if you heard the news about right now. Is
In Ecuador.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I heard
what
it.
is happening like with the
Yeah.
narcos. I mean, it's really bad. But I thought, okay, one of the problems is like, I mean, a lot of imports are being made to Europe and to US. People who want uh, cocaine specifically. But I saw a statistic. I'm not sure if this is right, but in the past decade, the amount of cocaine that has been created, or I don't know, it consumed, I think it's that double. Like from
Yeah.
it's like, and I saw that Latin America was also part of the statistic. Like it's not like, I mean, it was. I think the U.S. Let me check this place.
So I mean, people in
Latin America also use it, and
also use
Asia,
it
in
much
Asia as
more.
well. It's not a, it's a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
For sure in Europe, people pay more, and that's why there is a more need to transport this to Europe and also to US because people pay more. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's worrisome that people are using more. It doubled. It's like crazy. Like what is going on? Like I didn't thought that was so huge an issue, and yeah, it's
The problem with cocaine is it's just you can integrate it into your day very well. You can take cocaine, you can still eat, you can function like normal. You just have more energy, but of course you get addicted to it.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's
Works your
that's
body.
interesting because you compare that to the traditional uses. I mean, people like have like I don't. I had to research about what you say about the tooth. Research about if when I look research this as reliable in the last decade. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like hardly the same drug if you look at people who chew coca leaves versus people who take cocaine and are like really addicted.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cocaine production is at its highest level on record. UN says. Okay. I want to see the different part of the world, the markets, because the demand was double. Um, Demand is still high in North America, which constitutes 30% of global demand for drugs in 2020. This is CNBC. The highest proportion worldwide, according to the UN, Central and South American and the Caribbean. And the UN, I guess, is United Nations. Central and South American and the Caribbean came second, so making 24% of the demand of the cocaine users in 2020. That was 2020.
Yeah.
And Western and Central Europe came third with 21%. And fourth was continent of Africa with 9% of global use. I don't remember where is Asia. Asia doesn't. Okay, 30. We have 54. We have 75 plus 9. We have 84, so they constitute, I guess, 40%. This Asia, but I mean, it's crazy. Like also, yeah, Africa doesn't seem much.
Yeah, if you, I mean, Africa is so big and there's so many people. It's like if you look at the per capita cocaine consumption, it's like
Maybe it's high.
It's no. It's like it's even lower in Africa then, because I mean, yeah,
Yeah, but
they don't have the money for cocaine.
yeah, it's crazy because yeah, I don't know. It's like the thing is, it's a complex issue, because it's also money involved in there. But yeah,
It's just crazy how expensive it is. I mean, compared to other drugs in the West, in Europe, cocaine is so expensive. It's like
I
it's
heard there is
crazy.
a $3 trillion business,
Yeah,
like $1 trillion, like
I can imagine. Yeah, it's like a gram is like at least 50 euros. Sometimes you pay like 100 euros. And I mean, how expensive is it in South
I don't
America?
know, I don't know how expensive it is, to be honest,
Okay.
but I mean 100 euros, like, and they get
Yeah,
thousand
the thing
of
is,
kilos, like it's just
it's like
crazy.
1 gram is like really not a lot, and if you have like a whole package, it's
Yeah,
like
it's crazy. Too
already
much. It's
like
too
a
much
few
money.
thousand.
It's a lot of money. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's crazy. Yeah, how this
And
is.
also compared to other drugs, like if you look at amphetamine or something, it's like 10 euros a gram. That's expensive. It's like dirt cheap.
Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, the to be positive. I mean, the future. I guess. The thing is, another thing that I guess is affect. I mean, because one part for sure is the substance is potent, but also the other part is for sure is the communities are being. I mean, people Latin America is industrializing fast. Like it's becoming. I
Yeah.
mean, because every time I go to Latin America, I saw industrialization is going faster. Like
Yeah.
buildings, brands are becoming bigger. I mean, I saw chains of, for example, gyms. There used to be simple gyms, now become brands with nice logos.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going faster. I mean, I when I was younger, there were not that many companies in there, but now
Yeah.
companies are high. So I wonder if also this is yeah, a product of industrialization. Like people are. I mean, when industrialization comes, also the communities fragment more.
Yeah. So you mean that like as a product of industrialization, that people use more drugs?
Yeah, I don't know if maybe that's the
I
case.
think so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because yeah, communities fragment. People go to work in other cities or something. They it's just not you're not as bound to your family, and for some people that's really good, but for some people it's really not that good. And things like addiction and like mental health
Yeah.
issues gets yeah, it's become a bigger problem.
Yeah, yes, it's complex, but yeah, I also have hope because I mean things traditional medicine has been our research like ayahuasca, like people have cured addictions with
Oh yeah,
this.
definitely. Yeah.
A lot of this for me it's interesting that this trend is coming back. I don't know if it's coming back or it's just because the war on drugs in the US, it was in the 80s, I guess, in the 60s, 70s, started there, and all the research about psychedelics were closed.
Yeah.
But now it's opening up, and I wonder why it's the case when the war on drugs is even more complex now than it used to be.
Yeah, because I think people with a lot of passion just wanted it to happen. Like the DEA, the people who prohibited the drugs, they wouldn't want to legalize anything or like give scientists opportunities to research the medications, but uh, people just collected money and they did the studies, and scientists tried and tried again and were able to show that the medicines actually help people. And yeah, it's been a slow progress, but now it's become kind of normal that psychoactive substances are used in medicines for all kinds of things, like ketamine and depression or something.
I heard also that there is a lot of investment now from pharmaceutical companies for this. I mean, for good or bad, I mean, it making money to help mental health.
Yeah.
And this is a positive outcome because I guess they want to make money from people getting better
Yeah.
from the mental side.
Yeah, it's just like the system we live in, that of course people want to help people, but people also want to make money, and a company doesn't work if it doesn't make money, so they try to make money. Um, yeah, it has like drawbacks, but also it's the way things work, and it's the way
Yeah.
medicines can be approved. So they have to do the clinical studies, and they can't do the clinical studies if they don't invest a shit ton of money into them, and so they have to have an incentive to make money.
Yeah, I also another interesting topic for me is like I was thinking. I mean, I maybe we talk about it, but the idea that science was basically based on okay, we can observe and a phenomenon and make an experiment, and someone else can replicate the experiment, and this is basically in a
Yeah,
nutshell science. But this basically divide the previous assumption that the world has soul and matter, because you can only study matter with science.
yeah,
But in ancient medicine, at least in Latin America, to this day, to some small communities in the indigenous people, they still believe that the soul of the plants, the soul of the medicine and itself. And this is interesting for me as well, like because I mean, there's no way you can study that. And how can you explain this phenomenon if it cannot be studied with the current
I think
tools?
I mean science is of course completely materialistic. Like there's no space in science to think about like the soul of a plant, but maybe the thing that can bridge those two things is like the human psyche, because plants only thought about or mostly thought about having a soul in connection with humans. So if you ingest the plants, then you can interact with the soul of the plant. And what the plant does with the psyche, science is trying to understand, but it's really really hard to understand, and we just don't know a lot of things. Often, especially with things like psychedelics. So maybe then, there's a little bit of space for like
Yeah.
thinking about like soul of plants or whatever.
Yeah, but do you think that makes sense? That you think in the future people will think, oh, we can research soul? I mean, for me, I mean, I was a more. I thought, okay, in the past, yeah, people think plants are soul, wherever, but I mean, there are, I guess, more and more information about how, for example, mushrooms or fungi works, and I mean, they are super complex. Like they have networks of connections,
Yeah,
and you might think, oh, maybe what indigenous people refer to soul is a connection, a different level of consciousness, or a completely parallel kind of consciousness we are not aware of. Like plants can connect with things that we are not aware of.
yeah. So personally, I don't believe in like soul of plants or something.
But
Try to be, or I'm not completely materialistic, but in the ways that I'm not, I think it's like in the psyche. So it's like consciousness, but it's not. I don't. I take it like you take it a step further and think of like plants having souls, but I think like everything is in our minds, like the things that we experience and the things that we just don't understand and maybe can never understand. But I still believe it's just this substance, a defined substance that interacts with my brain in certain ways, and then that allows me to see whatever things you can see on psychedelics.
yeah, but I mean, for me, it's interesting the idea that okay, as a human, I don't know. I mean, the Judeo-Christian tradition was souls. I mean, the soul is what you go to the heaven. Your soul go to the heaven,
Yeah,
and that's the basis of the Western civilization. But but this is something interesting because I was actually talking to my dad about this. That I thought, okay, the divide of how in Latin America, the communities or the cosmovision of the vision of the world was souls are in mountains or animals and plants
yeah,
is I mean is a new divide because in the past probably also in the small communities in Europe probably also they believe there is souls, and I think that's the case. And I thought, okay, from the point of when the scientific method was developed, then we saw the big divide. But my dad was arguing with me that maybe it was even before because when in Greece people develop the idea of reason and being yeah, reason, but also being rational.
Yeah.
And like rational, I don't think it had to do anything with soul as well.
Yeah, I think they were rational, but they still, even the old philosophers and those old people, they still believed in a lot of things that really didn't come from rational observations,
Like gods.
or they interpreted things as things with the gods, but still, yeah, had like rational thoughts about it. But I think with science, it's still a step further, because those most scientists don't believe in anything that's like metaphysical or not materialistic.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think also that yeah, it's a little bit weird, but well, for me, is I mean, I don't have a judgment about this yet. I just trying to understand from being open-minded about it. I mean, maybe it sounds weird, like say, oh, plants have soul, whatever, but I want to understand what they mean by soul. Like, do they mean that, for example, more mushrooms or fungi can have this connection with a lot of things and are super smart, or they think there is something supernatural? I don't know. I would like to believe. I mean, I don't know. I'm open minded to think maybe there is something that haven't researched yet, and we are not really understood the human consciousness, and even human consciousness maybe is connected to natural consciousness that is more complex.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it would be very hard to research anything.
Yeah, it was
like
very
this,
hard to research, but I think if now there is this the interest in the psychedelics for changing the mind, and this traditional use of medicine is connected also with the idea of the soul and being connected with the war and plants. Yeah, maybe the mindset will change. I don't know. I hope it's for good, because I don't want to romanticize the idea of all indigenous people were super good. I mean, they are still killing themselves, like in the tribes were killing each other as well. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that I don't know. I think that there have to be something that counterbalance the industrialization that is creating to. I feel like this is a trend of isolating everything. Like, like you isolate
Yeah.
components, you isolate people. Just
Oh yeah,
like
that's a good analogy.
yeah, and then when things are isolated, there's no connection, and yeah, who knows what connection means? Like in the past, religions were based on connection, like mainly like oh, we're part of this bigger thing, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel there is something that had to be countered that.
Yeah, I think if it's ever going to be really looked at from a scientific perspective, it's going to probably be like with psychology. So always related to the human mind in psychedelics, and also maybe the way people are maybe in the future are uh, looked at by therapists, or are like treated by therapists in conjunction with psychedelics. That maybe then they would also develop a relationship with the plant or the compound that they ingested, just because it's becomes the natural thing if the people ingest it. So like if you take ayahuasca and then you have like a relationship with ayahuasca, you feel it like when you ingest it. So I've never done ayahuasca, but maybe it's that for a lot of people who do ayahuasca, that they actually like it's not just that they are then high and have like experiences, but they have like really in the trip is always kind of a relationship with the plant. And if that's like an experience that gets repeated and over again, then yeah, maybe you could look at that scientifically.
Yeah, but you think that yeah, you are. I mean, for sure, you are still accepted. You are basically a scientist. And
kind of. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm an artist, but also, but I just used to think. I used to be influenced a lot by the scientific method. I mastered how to do the scientific method.
Yeah.
But I don't. I yes, is the thing that scientific method has a rich with also the system of the economic system we have now, the limit. So I think it's, I don't know. Personally, I want to see other alternatives to some problems, because another problem that I mean is related to that is the environment as well. Like when science divide matter and humans, and from other plants, it's like, okay, we are this superior thing, and then plants and animals doesn't have soul, wherever
Yeah.
with matter, because there is no soul. We are just a superior.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably because people don't live in nature as they used to. It's quick. I mean, most people nowadays, at least in the West, like have some kind of conscience when it comes to the environment. So they try to be good to the environment and not produce a lot of CO2 or whatever. But I think if you then, if you're like the leader of a big company, like one of the companies that actually can fuck up the environment, and you have like to decide between, okay, I fuck up the environment or I get a shit ton of money, then that consciousness gets erased pretty quickly. Um, but if you actually lived in
You can, yeah, you
nature for most
understand,
of your
yeah.
life,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we did 1 hour and 50. I think, I think it's
that's good.
been good
Yeah.
talking to you.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
also was super fun, and thank you for taking the time with me to discuss this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay. This is all for us. Bye, everybody.
Bye.